What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is another episode of What is in My Cellar Wednesday. We've got a great beer coming from Bell's Brewery. Yes, before they were bought out. It's going to be from 2018, the infamous bourbon barrel-aged Expedition Stout, one of the best BBA stouts that money can buy on the market. Doesn't matter time frame, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years from now. It's always excellent, guys. So what is this particular vintage? It's coming from 10/16/2018. I will give you the official picture leading into this video, so you'll have already seen it. Take my word for it, I'm not a liar. So this was in the cellar. I thought I would review this one because why not? It's 5 years old plus. So if you've seen the channel, you know by now that I like fresh bourbon barrel-aged stouts. This is one of my favorites, but will I like it 5 years aged in the bottle? We will investigate today. So this is clocking in at 13.4% ABV. This was interesting. I actually see that it has a different bottle cap than the newer versions of this beer. It usually has the matching top with this logo slash emblem on it, but this just has the Bell's cap on top. So we will investigate again, guys, and see. It says this is unlimited shelf life. I don't know. I mean, I'm not quite sure how I feel about 5 years old in the bottle, but nonetheless, excuse me, frog in my throat. Let's investigate. Let's see what this is about. Boom. Smoke off the top. Hope you guys are doing great. It's What is in My Cellar Wednesday. Chocolate, freaking chocolate brownies, man. Right off the neck. So as I'm pouring this, guys, it's sludge. I mean, it's certainly, it reminds me of pouring like a Bourbon County. I mean, we just had Bourbon County. I almost reviewed the 2020 today, but I decided I'm going to cellar it another year. We will investigate that next year. But as I poured this, very viscous, slightly syrupy, darkness, little brown hue, but don't need to go into immense detail on the pour. You guys can see this midnight oil. That's what we call these big stouts. We're burning the midnight oil in this glass. We have a nice roasty charred mocha head sitting on top, and there was almost like a creaminess to it. It has then, since the pour, dissipated, and you're left with a Dawn soapy charred ring on the outside of the glass, if you will, or I should say on the inside edges. But it's a little bit creamier than maybe some of the other stouts I've had that have been aged. This one does seem a little bit thicker, as in the bubbling, the stickiness to the glass. It looks just a little bit more dense on the outer edge. So let's get an official aroma. We won't make this too long of a video. Freaking beer, you guys want to know the rating? Let's get into it. Wow. Still smells really decadent in a way, like the brownie batter, the syrupy fig, a little bit of the dark fruity goodness, again, that we get in so many of these bourbon barrel-aged stouts. Yes, it's in here as well, and that's typically what's in the Expedition Stout base to begin with. Those dark fruits are certainly showing themselves. But I just get like a little bit of this sweet brownie batter, a little bit of like sugary glaze on top of it. It's very desserty, yet some of the remnants of that barrel, a little bit of that charred oakiness, a little bit of that woody, subtle quality definitely emerging itself into those dark fruits. I will say when I have this fresh, the barrel seems maybe a dash sharper because this is usually very bourbon forward. This one seems definitely there after 5 years. I'm actually shocked it's apparent as it is on the nose so far. A little bit of caramel, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of like coffee roast, more of the dark roast slash French roast, Starbucks kind of thing in the nose. Maybe a slight bit of fudginess as well. I mean, it's still got the chocolate factor going on, very desserty, but still very roasty. Like sometimes we see the barrel and the coffee fade. Coffee's still there, and the barrel still showing remnants of itself in a pretty nice way, actually. But I don't know. We'll see what the taste is, guys. That's really what matters after 5 years of aging. Bourbon Barrel Age Expedition Stout, 2018. Cheers. And boom, the barrel's still kind of there. I mean, it's woodier. It's not as liquidy and syrupy, you know what I'm saying? Like the edges almost of like a dried barrel. You sometimes get the remainder of that bourbon. The bourbon has, I would say, faded. and you're just left with that actual wood and that oakiness. It's just definitely flexing a little bit. But I'd say the bourbon itself, kind of a shadow of what it once was. But it's really mellowed the beer out. I mean, it's certainly a little bit of like oaky woodiness in the chest. A little bit of that ethanol thing, but very subtle, very subtle. A little bit of sweetness, good roast to this beer. A little bit of decadence in the same way with the dark fruits. Really solid aging in this bottle, but again, I'd say it's more woody than it is bourbony. Sometimes you get the stronger bourbon notes. This time it's more of that barrel, aka the woodiness of the barrel. Still a small bit of like Tootsie Roll. I mean, not as much as the Bourbon County that I've had recently, but this is still just showing those dark notes of coffee, the caramel. I'd say there's definitely notes of caramel, however you want to say it. A little bit of cocoa or cacao. Okay, so it's got like this dark chocolate bitterness too. So I got more like fudgy brownie in the nose. Now I'm just getting more dark chocolate bitterness, a little bit of dry roasty goodness. Expedition Stout typically very roasty, very dry compared to some of the other in its category. This is remaining very dry with a slight bit of decadent candy on it, you know, with the caramel and the sugar and the vanilla. Dark fruits definitely there, but not as sharp as, let's say, your Bourbon County. Again, that little caramel Tootsie Roll thing still in there, but it's evened out by that woody barrel. And it's evened out by this dark chocolate bitterness. It's just really, it dries out on that back end. Again, that wood, that bitterness of the chocolate, a little bit of the, I would say, bourbon heat, but it's gone, man. There really is no bourbon heat compared to the other stouts I've drank recently. This thing is just mellow. It's really just blended together. And you can say that the dark fruits have mellowed out. The coffee's mellowed out. And then that barrel has just really evened everything out as well. So again, aging in the bottle, it's up to you. For me, I think this has blended really well and it's aged gracefully in the bottle. But I like the sharp bourbon wetness. I like a little bit more astringent bourbon, you know, because I'm a bourbon guy at the end of the day too. So when I drink bourbon barrel aged beer, I want that little kick, you know, where this has dissipated. It's just, again, more of the remnants of that barrel and the container that it is stored in, that woody oakiness. But for 13.4%, man, let me tell you something. Freaking crushable. So body is nice upper medium. It's not like super heavy. If it's heavy, we're going to go on the lower end of the heavy spectrum. I'd say it's just upper medium, just right below that heavy. And it's really just got this like almost cocoa marshmallow mouthfeel just for a slight moment. And again, then it just leads right into that oaky woody barrel. It's a good beer, man. I mean, it's one of my favorites. Again, I think I prefer them fresh. That's just my brutal honesty. So that's why I thought it'd be fun to review this one today and see how this aged in that bottle for 5+ years, guys. Still so roasty and evened out. Man, but it's just a crusher at 13.4. It's sick to say. Rating, I'm going to go with a 4.6 out of 5. I think I'm closer to a 5 when this is fresh. But 5 years in the bottle, guys, 4.6 out of 5. It was the Bell's Bourbon Barrel Aged Expedition Stout. Thank you for being here on What Is in My Cellar Wednesday. Until next time, guys, I'm Dan. Have some good beer. Your life is short. You know that, right? Cheers.